of the 2015 total solar eclipse. It's been an incredible rocky ride for us this evening, this morning, this afternoon, wherever you happen to be watching with us. But we are looking right now live at a feed coming out of Svalbard, courtesy of our partners NRK News, that have very clear skies, and we're looking for totality very soon in just about 20 minutes. And as we're counting down to this exciting moment, I would like to bring on a special guest who's going to join us. This is Dr. Duncan Kopp. Here he is right now, and he's somebody who has a PhD in astronomy. He knows a lot about this stuff, and as I mentioned before, he's well known for his work on In the Shadow of the Moon, a documentary about the Apollo program. And recently, he started his work on a DVD called The Earth, an HD Odyssey, which you can check that out on Amazon.com. But welcome to our broadcast, Duncan. I'm really looking forward to having a talk with you. There's a lot of exciting things I think we can discuss today.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be with you and the people at Slooh. It's such great fun.
Oh yeah, your audio is coming in a little soft, but thank you really again for coming on, Duncan. We're really appreciating this. And one thing that I thought I would ask you is, do you have an experience with eclipses? Do you have an expedition that you went on that affected you, that you had really a roller coaster ride with, like we're having today?
I have one. I've only once have I stood in the shadow of the moon, and that was August 11th, 1999, when we had a total solar eclipse, which brushed against the southern tip of the United Kingdom, which was stunning. And the only place you could really go and see it was in Cornwall, but also the Channel Islands, which are off the coast of France. So there were a group of us. We thought, well, we sort of did our calculations. Where's the best place we could go? What's the possibility of cloud cover on August the 11th, 1999? We're the best place we could go. So we chose this tiny little island called Alderney, and it's only about 3 miles across and about 1.5 miles wide. And that was where we were going to go and view the eclipse. And I have to say, it was just so exciting. I'd known about this eclipse for years and years and years, since I was a little boy. And time just ticks away, and suddenly, before you know it, it's upon you. So we were all getting very excited about this. So we all departed and went out to Alderney. We had to go there by boat. It's the only way you can get there. And there were thousands of people there, and it was such a great party atmosphere, and everybody was on this tiny little island, and the weather wasn't that good. There was a lot of high cloud. It was slow moving, sort of outer stratus cloud, so it was really hit and miss as to whether we were actually going to be able to see anything at all. But that didn't really deter us, because I mean, just the ability to stand in the shadow of the moon, I think, would be an amazing experience. So we were pretty hyped up. And I remember
Sorry, go ahead.
As it got closer and closer and closer, people got more and more tense. You could cut the atmosphere. It's quite amazing, really good party atmosphere. And then I remember this really strange experience where, sort of out of the corner of my eye, you could look across the ocean and you could see this shadow coming towards you. And that was a really quite an oppressive feeling. It was quite scary. I mean, this thing is big. This is a big shadow, and you just think, where is that? Of course, you know what's going on, but you can imagine if you didn't know what was going on. And this thing sort of rushed over us, and just at that time, we could look up, and there was just enough sort of breaks in the cloud, or the cloud was thin enough for us to be able to see totality, and it was pretty amazing, I have to say.
That's absolutely, it sounds like such an incredible experience. And just to be packed in there with all those people, was the emotion sort of contagious? Was it a bit of a group experience?
It was nuts. It was absolutely nuts, because everybody just cheered when this thing happened. And everybody was training their cameras on the sky and hadn't turned their flashes off. So it was like being at a rock concert when, your star walks out, basically. And all these flash bulbs were firing off and cheering and clapping. And it was very subdued and quite quiet to sort of begin with regards to the build-up. But as soon as we hit totality, everybody went bonkers, as I say. And Concorde was flying in those days. And we could hear the sonic booms of Concorde, because Concorde was flying along the path of totality. People could pay, they chartered out Concorde to fly along totality. Oh, wow. So you got a much longer duration of totality. So we couldn't see it, but we could hear it. and there were helicopters buzzing around, and it was a really incredible event, and very short. It was about, I think, totality maximum was about 2.5 minutes, so not dissimilar to this eclipse. But you're just standing there and you see the corona, and we managed to see a couple of very subtle pink prominences, around the edge, and you just get a view that you just never see before, and it's
Wow.
that amazing thing where you think, well, the moon is so big, and then the sun is so big, but the sun's much further away, and you get this wonderful coincidence, and that's what it is. This perfect coincidence. Of course, it won't last forever, because the sun and the moon are obviously moving. The moon is actually moving away from us, so there'll be a time when we only have annular eclipses and not total solar eclipses. But you just think that's an amazing, amazing coincidence, and it was wonderful being there with all your friends and having some beers and stuff. It was a really fantastic day.
It does sound like it, and this a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek question, but since it was right at the turn of the millennium, and it's a solar eclipse, was there any sort of fanatic like fear about this event, because it is something that strikes people as so dramatic? Was there any Y2K related rumors about it or anything like that?
Y2K, isn't it funny how we forget those things? Yeah, Y2K, that was everywhere at that time. Y2K, the whole world's going to come to an end. It's a bit like the Mayan calendar, in 2012. Y2K, I've not heard that for ages. It's really funny when nothing happened at all. But no, exactly. No, I don't think so. I just think I think we were all there for this really unique experience, and a wonderful natural experience. And I think there was a commonality because we were all about to experience it together, and we all wanted the cloud to. It didn't break, but it was thin enough so that we could at least see what was going on. And we all wanted the cloud to break, and it didn't break, but it was thin enough so that we could at least see what was going on. And I think afterwards, it's a really weird thing how nature can bring you together sometimes. And there were thousands of people on that island, thousands, crowded. You couldn't move. Unbelievable. And a really good, as I say, sort of party atmosphere. So, no, I don't think anybody, I don't think it was, there was any sort of worrisome feeling about it, or quite the opposite, maybe spiritual, because it's quite a humbling experience, I think, I would say.
It really is, and I think that I'm curious, in your opinion, as somebody who makes documentaries, as somebody who has this eye for film, what do you think is the best way to experience an eclipse like this? Is it behind a camera? Is it just looking at it? What would be your opinion on that?
Okay, that's a really good question, because when you're behind the camera, when you're directing, you're focusing on what it is you're filming. And I remember one of my first films was following a space shuttle mission, and I was invited to the VIP area for launch, and we had a slight issue with our camera crew, which actually meant that day we couldn't film. And I was pretty devastated and thought, well, this is awful. But of course, NASA films it from every single angle possible and gets the best shots. So I sort of had time to sit back and watch this event, this fantastic shuttle launch. It was exactly the same with the eclipse. I would say don't worry too much about trying to photograph every single aspect of it. Really take it in and appreciate it, and see it not through the lens of a camera, but see it with your eyes. I mean, that personally, that's what I would do. I know everybody wants to record it. In fact, today it's probably a lot easier to record than it was 10, 15 years ago. So you've probably got the best of both worlds. But for my money, I would just sit there and let it wash over you, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, you bring up a good point. In this day and age, everybody can and does really record it. And so if you don't record it and you sit back and enjoy it, you have this opportunity to sort of see what everybody else is bringing to the table, and get that those visuals here as well. I mean, that's what we're trying to do here at Slooh, is give you that opportunity so you don't have to travel to these far places, but you can see that from the comfort of your own home. But I think that's a really great sentiment. It's just sort of interacting with that experience as best you can. And I mean, we do have a couple of really, really great events that are coming up. Like I was mentioning earlier on, there's the total eclipse of 2017 that is going to just zoom right through the U.S. and it's going to be, I think, a lot of fun for a lot of people that haven't had access to eclipses very recently. Do you have, recommendations for how best to prepare? What would you do in terms of getting ready for if you had another eclipse that you were going to, another 1999, without the Y2K? What might you do
Well,
to get ready?
I want to go to the August 2017 eclipse because I think it's going to be amazing. And it was interesting because at the time, the 1999 eclipse was one of the greatest viewed eclipses in human history because its path took it through a very densely populated area of Europe. Now, exactly the same is going to happen in 2017. I was looking before we came on air at the path of totality, and it just tracks right across the middle of the United States, and so there's a great opportunity, and also it's August. It's great weather. I mean, you've got a really good opportunity to get out and see this eclipse. To prepare for it, I think, well, there's a lot of information that's online nowadays, so you may want to go online and Google the eclipse and try and find out where the best place is to go and see it in terms of.
Oh, it seems like our free feed from Duncan froze there for a little bit. Oh, are you back with us? I'm hearing you a little bit now, Duncan. Yeah, it seems like he might have frozen up, but Duncan was coming to us from a very far place in terms of he was our representative from the southern hemisphere. He was coming to us over from Cape Town in South Africa, and it was really great of him to join us. I'm very grateful to him, even though the internet cut out at the end there. I think we had a really great conversation, and I think Duncan's insights really brought to home for us exactly what's so special about a solar eclipse is that he was talking to us about an eclipse that happened for him 16 years ago. This was an eclipse that happened so very long ago, but you can see from his eyes, the way he talks about it, his enthusiasm, that this is something that has stuck with him so fundamentally. It's not a memory that he's going to let go of. And so we here are approaching so very closely. We are just about at totality from Svalbard, courtesy of our partners from NRK News. That is just about there. Paul, do you see this sliver? Do you see this sliver getting even slivier than it's ever slivered?
We're inventing new words here. I love that. Yeah, sliverier. It is definitely getting a lot sliverier.
It's absolutely incredible. And so we have to go to a quick commercial break, but right after we get back, really don't miss this, we're going into totality. But yes, if you like events like these, if you like eclipses, if you like more than that, things that are happening in the night sky, consider joining Slooh. We have a special membership offer, 30 days for just $1. You can get access to even more celestial events than you can see out here in the public, and it's you just check us out at slooh.com, see if you like what we're about, and see if you want to join. But yes, we'll be back in just 30 seconds, and we're just 8 minutes away from totality.